Alright guys, 3 leadership mistakes that destroy founder performance when scaling. And so before I go into this, I'm going to talk about the brainwave states. This is so important as a leader to understand. So there are 7 brainwave states, but I'm going to focus on the 3 that really matter when it comes to leadership and performance. The first one is delta. Delta is the state that you need to be in when you are allowing yourself to heal and recover through sleep. Sleep is the most powerful resource when it comes to healing. It's free, anyone can do it, but you have to be in delta to really get the benefits from it. Now, if you can't access delta, you can't recover. If you can't recover, you can't perform. And so that's the first one. The second brainwave state for leaders is beta. Beta is the state where you output, where you produce, where you perform. Now, if you are over-exaggerated in high beta, that can create fragmentation. We'll return back to it when I talk about those 3 mistakes that you leaders may be making. And then the third one is alpha. Alpha is what I term the gateway. The gateway because it allows you to go into a state of calm, receptivity, intuition, and this allows true creativity to support the leadership role that you're in when it comes to building businesses, creating powerful ideas, and all those sort of things. Okay, so now you know that. Before we get into the 3 mistakes, the next thing I want to cover is the human operating system. This is what I like to talk about when it comes to architecture. The human operating system, what we run on, what our whole ethos is about these 3 pathways that rate and relate to our operating system. So they are the field. Think of it like a computer. A computer cannot run without the internet. And so the field is the broadcast. That is the internet, what you carry the information towards. And then the second thing is your software. The software is your beliefs, your doubts, your fears, your anxieties, your apprehensions. So basically that is your daily thinking. And then the hardware, the third part, much like a computer, this is daily activities. So those would be things such as the things that you do that are benefiting the body: Tai Chi, Qigong, journaling, breath work, stretching, exercise, grounding. Basically what I term the quantum resets. These are important and instrumental because a lot of this allows you to access the alpha brainwave state that allows the body to recover and reset. Okay, so now that we are familiar with the software, the hardware, basically the operating system, and we have a bit of an understanding of the brainwave states and what they do, let's now talk about the first of the 3 mistakes that you leaders may be making. And the first one is not anchoring the leadership in the body before the day starts. And so what that looks like is as soon as you wake up, you go to your phone, you have a look at all your notifications, all the tasks that you need to do for the day. And the problem with this is it puts you straight away in this state of unease. It puts you into an adrenaline state. Now what that does, relating it back to the brainwave states, is it puts you in beta. When you wake up in the morning from your sleep, if you slept correctly, you're in recovery and you're in delta. Delta is a state, almost like a hypnotic state, that allows you to really perform by allowing your subconscious mind to create a stable state. But what happens is in that first 10 to 20 minutes, your body wants to be in that delta brainwave state to unlock information from your subconscious mind. But because as soon as you wake up, because you're not anchored and because you go straight to your phone, you are shifting your body immediately into beta, into do, output, output, output. And as I said, what that does is it puts your body into this fragmented state, this state of what we call tired and wired. Now, it's a familiar state, but it doesn't mean it's good. Familiarity is only familiarity. It's only what is common. It's not what we call homeostasis, or the state of balance. And so you as an operator are burning yourself out, as they say, burning the candle at both ends. You're so used to this that you think it's normal. It's not normal, it's just common. And so that's the first mistake. It's not allowing your body to be centered or present. Now, you may have a spouse, and he or she may not like the fact that you are always on the go. You can't relate to them, you can't be present. The same might be said for your children. You just don't have time for them. And it's not because you're a bad person, but it's because you haven't anchored the day. You haven't allowed your body to sit in a present state because you fed it a specific habit of stimulation. And so that is what causes the leader to fragment and to burn out. And now the second step, or the second of these three mistakes, is running the nervous system in constant beta. So it's a lead on from what you did at the start of the day. If you run your system in constant beta, as I said, beta is necessary. You need it to perform. But if you stay in beta all the time, you go into what we call high beta. And when you're in high beta, think of it like this. Beta is the output, but where do you recover? Where is the input? You can only get input from the alpha. So it would be like taking money out of a bank, but never refreshing or putting money back in. Eventually you'll go into your overdraft, and eventually you'll have no more ability to collect money. That's the same as the body. When your nervous system is in a fragmentation state, when you are in dysregulation, you can perform, but at what cost? This is something I always say to my clients. All my 7-8 figure clients that outperform get to a ceiling, no matter how hard they push. You cannot outrun your body, no matter how much effort you put in. And so you get to a point where you'll find that your business is scaling to a certain point, and we'll cover more of that in step 3. But the problem here at step 2 is you are in this nervous system dysregulation. You are not able to regulate the system because you are in beta. And so this is something that means that you as a leader, the only way you can get through the day is on stimulants, caffeine, tea, coffee, alcohol, and certain recreational drugs. And it's not that you're evil, it's not that you're doing something bad, it's just your body is giving you a sign because you start shaking, you start feeling low on energy, and so you reach for these things because, as I said, beta is finite, it's just output. And so you know this intrinsically, which is why you gravitate to these stimulants and you think that's normal. It's not normal, as I said earlier, it's just common. So in order for us to alleviate this, we have to go into looking at what the third mistake that you guys make as founders and leaders and entrepreneurs, and that is scaling strategy without scaling the leader. You're really good at scaling your team, scaling the company, scaling systems, but the one thing you don't do is scale yourself. Now you may say, what does that look like? Well, scaling yourself means the capacity. What we're talking about here is capacity. So the capacity is your nervous system. The way you do that is you increase the reserves, not through force, but through connection. And how you do that, the best way you can do that is to do what I call the alpha alignment. This is the work that I do with my clients. What that looks like is it's the ability to understand that every 2 hours or so, you should try to selectively take yourself into the alpha brainwave state. Studies have shown that if you output in beta for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, it only takes 3 to 5 minutes of doing something in the alpha that allows you to reset the nervous system so you actually recover. See, one of the reasons why people burn out is because they push themselves to the limit and they don't know how to reset. So when it comes to scaling the body or scaling yourself as a leader, it's about actively, consciously, intentionally exiting beta and moving into these alpha brainwave states. And as I said, when I do this work with my founders, we always go into what I call these alpha alignment systems. These are particular techniques or practices every 2 or 3 hours that allow your body to reset. So as I spoke about at the start of this video, if you do some form of stretching, some form of journaling, Tai Chi, Qigong, or what I call the quantum resets, this is one of the best things that you can do because your nervous system does need to return to alpha. As I said at the start, alpha is the gateway. And when you understand that, you're starting to recover. You see, this is what separates coaching from architecture. Whereas coaching is about motivation and advice, architecture, the thing that I do and help people with, is about rebuilding, starting to diagnose, and from the diagnosis, then you rebuild the operating system that drives performance. And part of the diagnosis is understanding what brainwave states you're in, understanding the heart rate variability, understanding your digestion, understanding all of the things that run the system from a physiological point of view. One of the things that I see with founders is that they have this incredible ability to ignore the physiological, but we have two different separations here. We have the psychology, what you believe, how much you think you can handle, and then you have the physiology, which is the actual messaging from the body. And if you're not diagnosing, you actually don't know what's going on at a physiological level. And like I said, you can use willpower to push yourself, but you cannot outperform your own body. And that's why it's been really important and key to have some form of diagnosis that lets you understand where you physiologically are at before you crash and burn. And it's one of the reasons why people that are high level burn out, because there's no roadmap and there's no diagnosis. So hopefully this makes sense to you. You're starting to see for yourself the patterns that may be impeding your ability to scale your business beyond a specific point. Or even if you're scaling, why you scale and feel more tired. Every single time you scale, you get to another level. There's more and more fatigue and more dependency on stimulants. So if you want to go deeper into this work and you want to learn more, in my bio, you can click the link for my scorecard. It allows you to do a free diagnosis to actually see where you're at. And if you answer it honestly, you'll start to get a map of exactly what's going on at a physiological, subjective level. And then therefore, after that, you can actually join the Telegram group if you want. And there are other tools that I have on board as well. But for now, just start off by clicking the link to do the free leadership diagnostic quiz. And then until then, I'll see you on the next video.